Yep. Hello. Welcome to the Move Swiftly platform. We done dropped the podcast title. And we have become a platform. The Move Swiftly platform. That is the name I've given it. Got on some Don King podcast title. Some Don King stuff from Ali. Rumble in the Jungle. That is the name that I've given it. Give me a second, Mike. Give me a second. Make sure everything is working. Together. And we're going to get this thing started right. Here we go. We in this thing. Okay, we in this thing. Here we go. We in this thing. Okay, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day you may be consuming this. Hope you're having an incredible time. In fact, I know you're having an incredible time because you are here, you're alive, you're breathing, and you are able to consume this material. Do not take that for granted. I get that there may be something going on. There may be some difficult, challenging things that are going on in your life right now. But remember the fact that you're here. You're blessed to be here and to see it, to feel it, to breathe it, to just be here to enjoy, to be a part of whatever it is you're going through. All right. So first and foremost, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to me, new to this channel. My name is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time. I'm telling you, soon to be 6-time. I'm getting there. Made progress this week on that. Soon to be 6-time published author and educator. And I created this whole brand, this whole framework, this whole concept, this whole system that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a group of employees, a staff that moves as cohesively, as passionately, has that same eager as a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do around here in the Move Swiftly world. We call it the Move Swiftly world. Move Swift plus LY. As you can see right here, plus LY. You see the new merch, Winterpreneur, boy. It's here. Oh man, because of this shirt, I'll just tell you right now, because of this shirt, it's not going to be next week, but the week after, we're going to be doing a whole week on how to go from prompt to product. Because this logo right here that you see, it was a ChatGPT prompt that I created, and now it's a product. All right, so that's what it's all about. So that being said, every Tuesday around here, we do something called Top 5 Tuesday, depending on the theme throughout this entire week. We're talking about public alignment, about how do you publicly align yourself with things that are relevant to you, organizations that you want to be a part of, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit, however, whatever you are feeling in your heart and in your soul, the things that you see happening in the world that you want to be a part of. And I'm teaching public alignment based on the news last week that came out with the NCAA and the settlement that they reached, what I believe is 2.8 or $2.2 billion that is being paid out to former college players from 2016. They reached a settlement. Schools can now pay players directly, and there's also a new governing body that's going to oversee a lot of this stuff called the College Sports Commission. Now, my latest book, Transferring D1, a practical guide on how to navigate the chaotic world of college athletics. I'm hearing this information living in South Florida, and I'm like, are you kidding? Like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, I need to be involved. I need to get myself involved in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I'm doing this entire week about how to publicly align yourself, but I'm using the fact that now that College Sports Commission is here and CSC has existed and all that is existing now, I'm using myself as an example as to show you how to publicly align yourself with organizations that you do feel called to work with, work for, or be a part of in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And there's ways of working with people without without necessarily getting paid, or without getting paid directly, or you're able to use your influence, use your knowledge, use your experience to create more of a structured system, which is what we're all about in the Move Swiftly world as it is. So all that being said, before I get too deep into the topic, let me just get through some announcements. And what I'll do too is I will actually play today's Move Swiftly thought, which I'm going to start doing a little more often, especially since for those of you who don't know, I do teach. So now that we're in the summer months, the hours are not going to be as consistent as they're not going to be all over the place. I'll probably be doing these a little earlier than I normally do. But because of that, I'll let the Move Swiftly thought play here a little bit more often, and then also I will, as I normally do, I'll go over the article and we'll read through the article and the top 5 Tuesdays and whatever that day is and all that kind of stuff. So again, just make sure you're liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel, because there's new stuff coming out. I mean, I did an interview yesterday. I hosted an interview yesterday, host one today at 12. There's tons of stuff. And again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you got a problem. You're missing out on a lot of great stuff. So before anything though, if you are a business owner and you are tired of the turnover, you're struggling with turnover, you need a system that's going to help you make better decisions in regards to who you hire and who you bring on, the very first step is to go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Simply put your information in there. You could book a meeting with me there if you'd like to as well. But the main thing is to put your information in there, and I will send you a free 10-step guide on how to start to at least begin the process of implementing a system that is going to make it so your employees and your staff is more bought in. We have a very, very easy process, a very easy to understand process, which is number one, you've got to establish measurables. All right, you have got to establish measurables. And number two, there needs to be a professional distance in your place of business. When you have those two things put together, then you have a productive environment. Without those two things, without the proper blend of those two things, you will not have a productive environment. You will just have a click. All right. Then I don't mean C-L-I-C-K. I mean C-L-I-Q-U-E. Click. You have clicks forming, and then ultimately nothing actually gets done. Just a bunch of fucking talking. All right. That you don't want that. You don't want that, because that's going to lead to businesses being shut down, your business being shut down. Now, if you like the sound of that, if you're a business owner and you like the sound of what I just said, and you're like, look, I want to move in that direction, and you're ready to just pull the trigger and have me come and speak to your staff and speak to your group of employees, you go to makeyourmove.com. Just drop the free guide, go right to makeyourmove.com. You can book me to speak. You can learn more about me. You can shop right there on the website, see my track record, see what my talks are all about, and just everywhere I've been, all the things I've done, and you can shop right there as well. If you'd like to purchase a book, if you'd like to purchase a notebook, book, boxing lessons. I actually do boxing as well. If you want to get boxing lessons, I sell them in classes of 6. It's $150 for 6 sessions. And if you're part of my free life group out here in West Palm Beach, I'm a life group leader for Life Church at West Palm Beach. If you're part of that group, you do get a discount, so you can sign up for free with those. And if you do like the shirts, there will be, I'm with well, she's like a fashion designer. That was one of the things that she wanted to do. So, I'm with me and her kind of working through some things. I'm not really necessarily the clothes man or the person that likes to shop. I have a great marketing mind, but I'm always kind of leaning on other people and what their expertise is. And, she was the one that helped me come up with the logo for these shirts. It was actually a prompt. Again, I will talk about that in later weeks. This was actually a prompt on ChatGPT, and now I'm actually wearing it, which is pretty cool. So we'll dive into that on another day. But if you do want a shirt, it's only $35 on makeyourmove.com. And if you don't know what the term wintrepreneur means, it's basically a person who has a strong entrepreneurial vision for what it is they want to do, yet they've been able to land a job that pays them every 2 weeks that is complementary to that entrepreneurial vision. All right. So those are the announcements. I'm going to let the Move Swiftly thought play a little bit, and then we're going to get into the article about my top 5 reasons. Now, today's top 5 is a top 5 reasons why I need to be involved. I need to get myself involved. And you're hearing it from me. We're talking public alignment all week. Why I need to get myself involved with the newly announced College Sports Commission. So let me let it play, and then I'll jump back in. So let me let this play here, and we'll go from there. As one Crookshank, your one and only Moose Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Moose Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Where we do not hear me. We do not teach you to rise to the occasion here. What we do teach day in and day out is falling to your level of preparation. Shout out to Mr. Dre Baldwin, my guy Dre Baldwin, who was the one that initially coined that phrase. And he did an episode. It's funny because he just did an episode yesterday. The reason I'm bringing him up is because he did an episode yesterday on his podcast saying you fall to your level of preparation. I had heard kind of him talk about a similar concept years ago, which is why it's kind of fresh on my mind. So all that being said, and it leads right in to today's Moose Swiftly Thought. Recording this Tuesday, Top 5 Tuesday, on another Top 5 Tuesday, well over a year now. Every single Tuesday, the consistency has been there. Go check the receipts. Every single Tuesday, there's been a top 5 of some sort of way, something out there, some relevant theme, evergreen material. What I do around here, it's been a Top 5 Tuesday. And today's Top 5 Tuesday is going to be Top 5 Tuesday alongside my bio and who I am and where I come from and what I'm all about. So I've aligned both of them. For any new listeners, by the way, if you're new around here, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel out to anybody that you know needs to hear it. All right. So Top 5 Tuesdays, Top 5 Tuesday today is the top 5 reasons why as one Crookshank needs to be included. I need to be included. Yes, referring to myself in the third person. I do it ever so often, but I personally need to be included in the future endeavors of the newly formed CSC, stands for College Sports Commission, new governing body. I'll be diving into all of those concepts and diving into what it's all about in more of a longer episode on the live stream in about less than an hour from this recording. Just want to give you a briefing of what the Top 5 Tuesday is all about and why I need to be involved with the CSC. All right, so reason number 1 is my experience as a youth and high school football player. Those two programs, and you've heard me speak about them on multiple occasions on this very platform, the White Oak Warriors and the Good Counsel Falcons. If I was to start that conversation in terms of why those two programs specifically merged together are what puts me in alignment to be a major part of the CSC movement, I will be on here for a good 2 to 3 hours. Trust and believe. Just know that if you look up the White Oak Warriors football program, you look up the Good Counsel football program, you'll start to get your answer as to why that qualifies me to be a part of the CSC. Number 2, next thing is what college football was to me. The jumping around, the different schools, the atmospheres I was a part of, the kind of people I got to connect with. That's number 2. That was the college experience, all right? Next thing, the thing I wanted to do after college was I wanted to be an NFL scout. I wanted to work for an NFL team. So my goal after I graduated from college was to scout in the NFL. That's number 3. And then number 4, this is 2011 when the NFL Lockout was happening and nobody was working. Everyone had to come up with creative ideas, creative ways. And any college kid at that time that had the ambition of working for an NFL team, it was just a different vibe. It was a different process in terms of how you go after what it is you're going to go after. It's just the reality of the situation. And again, all this will be laid out in the live stream in about less than an hour from now. So I got to kind of move, pun intended, swiftly on this one. All right. So, and then, so number 4 was, yes, number 1, high school youth experience. 2, what college football was to me. 3, the fact that I wanted to be an NFL scout. Before the fact that it was the NFL Lockout. Number 5 is we're living in the right now, where I currently reside. In the mecca of high school football, where all of the athletes are right here, parked it in South Florida, and built up a life out here in South Florida. And the Miami Dolphins actually happened to be that NFL team that I got a chance to work for before I turned 30. So I have a lot of experiences in that. So again, I'll dive deeper into this in a longer form. Just want to give you kind of a short form of why I need to be involved. Top 5 reasons of why I need to be involved in the CSC. But 1, my youth and high school football playing experience. Number 2, what college football was to me, what the college experience was to me. Number 3, the fact that I wanted to be an NFL scout after college. And number 4, the fact that the NFL was dealing with the lockout when I graduated. And number 5, the fact that I'm living right here in South Florida now, the mecca, the hotbed for high school football. All right.
That was it in the short form. So one of the things about being
a content creator, a person that's going to put out a lot of content, is you have to be able to tell the 2-minute version of the 30-second version of your short story, the 2-minute version of your story. And you also have to be able to tell the hour-long version of your story, whatever fits in that mode. And this is not something that you're going to get automatically. It's something that is going to take some time to develop. But your storytelling and aligning your story, putting your story out there, is going to be a skill that you need to develop over time, because you never know when someone's going to come into your world. You never know when someone's going to subscribe to your channel. You never know when they're going to see your videos. And then you never know how much time that person is, that decision maker that can make a decision to put your business on the right path, put your business where you want it to be, or help you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You just don't know where it's going to come from. So you have to spend this is why I tell you every day, we don't teach you to rise to the occasion, but what we do teach is for you to fall to your level of preparation, because day in and day out, you have to be preparing as if that day is going to happen. You have to be putting yourself out there, putting your things, making yourself available for the right people to come and find you. One of the greatest quotes, and every time this topic comes up when we're talking about public alignment, I go back to one of the GOATs out there, one of the people that a lot of folks know as a youth football, youth football legend. His name is Mr. Mike Anderson. Mr. Mike Anderson. This was back when I was working with FBU. I was a scout for FBU, which stands for Football University, and he was the team director for Team Maryland. And Mike would tell the kids all the time, look, it's not about what you know or who you know, because there's a lot of people that want to make excuses about, oh, well, I ain't getting recruited because I don't go to this school, and I'm this color or I'm that color, and they ain't want me, and I don't, a bunch of excuses, a bunch of, oh, it's politics, and I ain't playing because this one's the coach's son. All that kind of stuff. But the truth is, and not to say that all those things that I just mentioned is doesn't necessarily happen, but what he would tell the kids regularly, he would always say, look, it's not about what you know, or it's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you. Flip it. I want to tell you guys the same thing before I get started on the article today. It's not about what you know, and it's not about who you know, but who knows you. Who the hell knows you, and how are people actually going to get to know you if you're not putting yourself out there? And then on top of that, do you even know the kind of people that you want to know you, right? If you really think about it, if you really go in on it, do you even know the kind of person that'll be their problems, right? The problems that this person has. If I put out content for this person, eventually they're going to be looking somewhere, whether it is online, whether it is in person, wherever, they're going to be looking for the folks like me to fix their issues. All right. One of the things that I mentioned Dre Baldwin in the Move Swiftly Thought that I just played for you guys, is when I paid for coaching with him, and one of the conversations that we had, and he's been in this content creation game for decades, right? Decades, like multiple decades. I got in it back when, probably really got in it when it came to COVID in 2020 and all that. And he's been in this thing for decades. And you can tell when you have a conversation with him, whether you're watching him on YouTube or having a conversation with him directly without it being like public or whatever, you can tell it's the same person, right? And just like I'm hoping and I'm praying that that's the vibe and the energy that I give off, of that you can have a conversation with me right here, live, public, for everyone to see, and a conversation with me face to face directly, and it'd feel like the same exact thing. It'd be exactly the same, right? So one of the things that he told me when I was being coached by him was, Dre was like, what I wanted when I first started, I wanted a young basketball player who has access to the internet to be able to look me up and just have a library. It'd be like a library for a young basketball player to work on his moves, work on his two-step, work on his dribbling, work on his layups, work on his shoot, work on whatever he needed to work on. And Dre Baldwin had the material, had the video, excuse me, that he could look at that's going to make him a better basketball player. So when he said that, it connected. I said, you know what? I want to have a library of material. I want to have so much material out there that the typical business owner, if they didn't even want to pay a cent, they didn't want to pay anything. Let's say there's a business owner that just wants free stuff, can look up As One Crochet, look up this channel and say, man, I have just grown. I have gotten better as a business owner. I have gotten better just by subscribing to this channel, just by actually knowing that As One exists. I don't know him personally, but I just know he exists, and I've gotten better. That needs to be the mentality. All right. Your mentality needs to be, it's not about who I know or what I know. Now, again, know the right people and know a lot, right? Not to say don't do those things, but really it's about who knows you. Who the F knows you? Who knows you, and why do they know you? And then are you putting the material out there? Are you putting the material out there for folks to really get to know you when the time is right? All right. So all that being said, that's enough. I didn't plan on going on that tangent too early this morning, but I just finished a cup of coffee. So bear with me. All right, let's get into the article. So today we're Top 5 Tuesday, as always, Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 reasons I need to be involved with the College Sports Commission. All right. And that was me right after college. I was a college scout for National Scouting Report. In fact, let me look this up because I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Hold on. It might be national, because it might. There was a not trying to impress you, but I'm impressing upon you all really quick. Let me do this. So the thing is with NSR. Let me see if I could find it. Give me 1 second. Who we are, athletes, career. I'm trying to see if it's still here. So there was a point where I got a testimonial that was really over the top. And for the longest time, it was still on their website. I'm just not sure. They've reamped it since I've been a part of their stuff about us, who we are. Let me see if I just look up NSR, National Scouting Report. Bear with me for 1 second. Yeah, yep. Let's see. Yep. It's here. This is where it was. Yep, right here. It's still here. This is crazy to me. So, all right. This was when I first graduated college. All right, as you can see, I was a scout for National Scouting Report, right? And this wasn't just football; it was all sports. And as you can see, National Success Stories. So this is still on their website. It's been years since I've done anything with them. So this is still on their website. Testimonials and success stories. This person right here. This was one of my recruits. As we are ahead of the game. I feel like we're ahead of the game at this point. I would give you a glowing recommendation. I see our relationship growing and help our son. Now, I remember getting an email. And again, I'm not saying this to necessarily to my own home or impress you per se, but this is more of an impression upon you what I had just laid out in terms of it's about how well you do your job. It's about who knows you. All right. So what happened was I recruited this. Let me see if it's still up there. Let me see. It might actually be up there because Malik Dorsey. Let me see. Yep, it's still there. It's still all of this stuff is still. Let's see. Is it still around? It might. It was so long ago. Yeah. Oh my God, it's still here. Oh my goodness, it is still here. 2013, Malik Dorsey. Oh wow, look at the name. Look at the name on this thing, guys. Look at how long it's been. This is what I mean when I say leaving a track record on the internet. Our featured athlete. So they did National Scouting Report. All right. So let me before I get to that, because I'm gonna have to really break this down. All right. So National Scout. This was my first job out of college. I was, again, played college football, and all that stuff, and I wanted to scout. So took it was all commission job at National Scouting Report. And basically the way it works is I would go out and recruit high school kids and get them signed up to a service. And Malik Dorsey just happened to be one of the kids that I was able to, recruit and get the families to buy in and all that. So here it is, our featured athlete, 6'2", 213, 6'3", 2013, meaning he graduated in 2013. 280-pound lineman Malik Dorsey from Annapolis Area Christian High School in Annapolis, Maryland. His NSR scouting report says, and this scouting report right here that you see, that's what I wrote. All right. As you can see right there, once in terms, and again, you guys can go read this. I'll put a link to it somewhere so you guys understand. Now, when I was working with them, their mother, with the mother and father of the Myricks, they wrote up a testimonial that was like over the top. And as you can see, it's still on their website. I have literally written books shitting on NSR, like really, and like going, and me and the people that were part of that program, I've gone back and forth with these people, yet they still, some of the work that I've done is still able to sell. They're probably still able to be right there. So what I mean when I say you have to put yourself out there and you have to develop a track record, these are the kinds of things I'm talking about. All right. So all that being said, let me get into the article. Man, that was new to me. First time I can't believe it's still up there. But yeah, that was a time, boy. That was a time. Man, that's crazy. That was a time. And it's still right there on the internet. All right. Well, there you go. All right. So let's get into the article. Yes, it's another Top 5 Tuesday, but it's one that comes with a unique twist. Today's list isn't just educational or motivational, it's strategic. These are the top 5 reasons I need to be involved with the College Sports Commission, and it serves a few purposes. Number 1, it's a public alignment move, right? That's the theme this week. Remember, we're talking all week. We're talking about public alignment. How do you publicly align yourself? What I just did, what I just showed you, the track record. Again, somebody that's in the college football world and is trying this, trying that, they're going to see this video. They're going to see this very video and say, damn, that was like it's 12 years ago. And it's still right there. The work that I put in 12 years ago is now creating content, creating opportunities for me now, and can give me that perspective that I'm always talking about, right? That's what I mean when I say public alignment. If it's not out there publicly for people to consume, then you can't expect opportunities to come at you. You can't expect emails. You can't expect incoming emails or incoming calls to come your way if you're not publicly putting yourself out there. All right. Now, again, you're going to have to actively do it, but you have to do the little things that are going to make it so people can find you. All right. So that's number 1. It's a public alignment move. Number 2, it positions me, basically saying what I just said, right? It positions me in front of the right people, virtually or otherwise, who can bring me in. And number 3, and most importantly, it forces me to look inward and ask, am I truly ready for this kind of opportunity? Right there, number 3 is the most important one, as I put in the article, as I said. Number 1 most important part of this whole thing is you got to start looking up inside of you and asking yourself if you're ready for this. All right. There's going to be a lot of opportunities thrown your way. Be a lot of people saying they can do this and do that for you, but actually looking yourself in the mirror and say, are you ready for this? I will never forget when the first time I came back home after college, like my freshman year, and I got with some of my friends or some of my teammates that I played high school football with, like when I was this version of Osborne Cruikshank right here. And I'll never forget, like, actually talking to some of my high school teammates, and they told me the same experience I had. They just had to look themselves, like, after that first week of camp, where it's 2-a-days, it's, oh my God, it's meetings, it's hot, it's college football that is just structured. I mean, on time, you gotta be here, you gotta be there, you gotta know it's just fast, right? So I'll never forget, it was actually Kendall. I think he's selling life insurance these days. But I remember I was with him, and he just said, yo, because he played at Monmouth. Yeah, he played at Monmouth University. And he goes, yo, man, I had to look myself in the mirror, dog, and say, is this stuff really for me? Because it's crazy. College football is not high school football. It's not what you're used to. So to live through something like that is absolutely insane. It ain't for everybody. Tell you right now, it ain't for everybody. All right. So the most important thing is to do what we do when you play the game, is look yourself in the mirror after that practice and your body is sore, you're tired, you're annoyed, you can't do anything right. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, hey, man, are you ready for this? Hey, man, hey, now, come on down. Are you ready for this, down? Come on down. All right. So all that being said, for those catching up, here's the context. Going back directly to the article now, right? All right. The NCAA reached a $2.8 billion antitrust settlement. Schools can now pay players directly. No NIL middlemen needed. As part of the settlement, the new governing body called the College Sports Commission was created. All right, here's the website. Let's put it up there on the screen for you guys to see it and check it out. This is the College Sports Commission. It's a new day in college sports. Schools across the country are now able to share revenue directly with student athletes. Student athletes have more opportunities than ever before to financially benefit during their participation of intercollegiate athletics. College sports have a clear path forward towards the bright futures there. Now, all this sounds good. It sounds good, like they do, like a lot of that, like the NCAA sounded good with a lot of the stuff that they put out there. But all right, let me just keep reading. All right, so when the whispers about this commission started getting louder, I didn't hesitate. I wrote a Medium article and posted it on LinkedIn. Shot a video, all making it crystal clear. I want in. Now it's official, and here's why. So we're finally, we're 30 minutes in, and we're finally getting to the top five. I know. You see what I mean when I say why I played that short form, because top 5 reasons. It's a short form. If you want the short form, it's there. And then we'll simply thought now where we've drawn it out to a whole. It's going to be I like to keep these shows at 45 minutes. So we'll run through these top 5 reasons why I need to be involved in it, and then again we'll go from there. So the first reason why I need to be involved, all right, is number 1 is my experience as a youth and high school football player. Here's why that is such a big deal. All right, I'm reading directly. This is coming from the heart now. All right, I wasn't the most outgoing kid growing up. My name, Aswand, was mispronounced constantly and often ridiculed. Making friends wasn't easy, but football gave me a place to belong. It gave me identity. All right. Not only did I play, but I was named captain of 2 powerhouse programs, the White Oak Warriors Youth and Our Lady of Good Counsel High School, both now nationally recognized. All right. You can look those up, and I'm doing my best not to dive too deep into those programs because I'll start talking about them and it'll be, 2 hours will go by. So that's what I said on the show. But go look those 2 programs up yourself and think about a young, reserved, shy kid who was constantly judged, constantly made fun of, constantly told, oh, what you must have, your name has ass in it, ass want, constantly abused verbally, all right, constantly during the school day. But when you get on the football field, there's your acceptance. Think about what it took for those 2 programs to become nationally recognized, and understand what a young kid like me, how indoctrinated and how absorbed I was in that. And then ask yourself, okay, shit, how did Aswan become Aswan? How did Aswan Crookshank become your one and only Move Swiftly speaker? And you could just point to those 2 programs and what it took for them to become what they become, and you will have your answer. There's really not a whole lot I need to say when it comes into how this aligns. So how does this align with CSC's mission? The CSC exists to govern fairly and to ensure that college sports ecosystem protects its athletes. Who better to help guide this process than someone who knows football, knows firsthand how critical football is to a young man's development? That's me. Again, that's me from day one, from 7 years old all the way through college. That is where I got my acceptance. I tell people all the time, I wouldn't have went to college. I mean, I wouldn't have seen the need to even go to school had there not been football programs attached to colleges, and then me be given the opportunity to just say, hey, let's finish, let's ride this thing out. Let's ride this thing out all the way through college, and then get into something after. I was hoping to play in the NFL, but I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen. When you play for a program like Good Counsel, you kind of know, man, look, let's do some of these coaching positions. Because you get really honest with your ability and realistic with your ability when you start seeing what an NFL cat looked like in high school, right? When you start seeing NFL talent and then playing against NFL talent in high school, you get real. It gets realistic. It's funny to think about it now, because as high school kids, you don't want to admit that. You don't want to necessarily admit that. And your coaches can't tell you directly that, look, bro, you ain't going to be good enough to go to the league. Your ass can't even get up at the Yes, can't even run a damn power right. All right, you can't even make a tackle, and you want to go to the NFL. So you can't like the high school version of me is kind of laughing at how much I have had to admit because you've seen what NFL look like. And this is what I try to tell young boys all the time now. Look, that doesn't mean just because you're not going to be good enough to go to the NFL, it does not mean that you're going to be a failure in life. There's so much more you can offer the world if you just start being honest. If we're honest about our ability and are realistic about what we can do. In fact, go listen to an episode. I did an episode titled Helping High-Level Athletes. And this was a teammate I had at Stony Brook. Shout out to Jordan Gush. And he was a starter. He was a starter for 4 years, and he was a slot receiver for 4 years. And I remember the first question I asked him when he was on the show. I said, "Hey, because I had left when he had I think he had like 2 or 3 years left of eligibility after I had graduated." And I asked him, I said, "Hey, man, did you think you were going to go to the league? Did you think?" And his dad was actually the defensive coordinator, Jim Gush. So I asked him, "Did you think you were going to go to the league? Did you, try out? Did you do anything?" He goes, I was a little realistic about what I can do." That's what I'm telling you. When you play at these levels of the game, when you start leveling up, you start getting a little realistic of what you can do in terms of, just ability. And a lot of times too, it's really not about work ethic. It's just about genetics. I mean, some cat, look, if you got a cat 6'8", damn 250, and he's moving, like just moving. It just takes some coaching, some technique wise. Gonna be crushing it, man. Gonna be crushing it. So that's that experience as as a youth and high school football player, knowing that the game is where I got my acceptance, and because it's where I got my acceptance, and then being realistic enough to know, hey, I'm not gonna be good enough to play in the NFL. Okay, there's a level of insecurity that comes with that. These are feelings and these are things now where I'm trying to figure out. I'm kind of, it's like standing on train tracks or walking. Let's say it's like walking on train tracks where the train's coming, you're walking on the tracks, you're not getting hit, but it's coming. That day's coming in which you're going to be no longer be able to play this game. And that leads me into number 2, because that's what college football was. So number 1, my experience as a youth and a high school player. Number 2 is what college football meant to me. All right. Because football consumed so much of my focus, my grades and athletic performance did not match up to the D1 standard. What I mean when I say that is when I got to high school, I really, really did not apply myself academically the way I needed to, the way I applied myself in the football world. So the difference was, youth football days, it was only 3 days a week in which you practice. So I did have some time to kind of put a little more emphasis and apply myself more to my studies, your home. But when you get to high school, it is every single day. Practice is every single day. You're not taking no days off. And I did blew off some homework assignments, said, y'all do it tomorrow. I did all that. I did that whole thing, right? So all of it caught up with me because I didn't match up to the D1 standard. I'm telling you now, given the school I went to, if my grades were where they needed to be, I would have went D1 right out of high school. I would have went FCS right out of high school if my grades were where they needed to be. But my grades were not where they needed to be, which put me in a high risk for any Division I recruit to come in and offer me a scholarship because the grades weren't where they needed to be, and I was in a high risk situation. So I ended up, and I'm going directly back to the article now, I ended up at Carson Newman, a Division II program. Then, okay, here's what happened. Go to Carson Newman my freshman year. That fall, get through, I redshirted there. And then when I went back for the spring, I tore my ACL. All right, tore my ACL, knee gone, knee surgery, out for the entire season. I could have quit right there, but I didn't. I fought my way back, walked on at Stony Brook University, my dream school, and earned a spot on the travel team. This is where this book came from. All right. I tell the story in this book about how that happened. That's why I call it transferring D1. Now, in between, what I didn't mention in the article is in between playing a D2 and going D1 is I worked at a gym where there were other trainers who were playing some arena ball, who played college football here and this, that, and the third. And I was absorbing the business and what it's all about and how people kind of fall through the cracks cracks and the lack of a feeder system and there's so many holes that need to be filled in the system, in the business in itself, that this is why the College Sports Commission is for me, because when it came time for me to play, it was just covered up, and I was more so involved in being a part of the kind of I don't want to use the word victim, but I was a part of the problems with the lack of a system that college sports has. Like, I'll give you an example. When I finally got to Stony Brook, I had to sit out that first year. Like, I wasn't eligible to play in any games because I had started at a Division II program, and then I went to do a JUCO, and then I transferred back to a Division I program. So even though I was a walk-on, even though I'd yet to even get in a college football game, there was no eligibility loss, none of it, I still had to sit out because the NCAA doesn't allow people to transfer from D2 and then go to JUCO and then go back to D1, even though he never actually gotten any games. And it's not like I was a player that they needed playing on the field. Like, again, I'm Division II athletically talented guy. So it wasn't going to be that big of a deal if I got into the game. But again, you break some NCAA rules, you get your team in trouble. And we actually won the Big South that year. So all of these little things I was constantly affected by, even though I'm not fucking Archie Manning. I'm not Tim Tebow. I'm not somebody that's this polarizing recruit that everybody was trying to get at. That's the issues with the entire system. And I lived it. This is why, again, all right, how this aligns with CSC's mission is the CSC's NIL and revenue sharing reforms will give players like me who don't always have elite talent or perfect circumstances a better shot. My story proves that when given structure, athletes can thrive, recover, and grow. I can ensure CSC's policies reflect that truth. So when it comes time to putting the policies together, I'm just looking right there at my own damn story and saying, look, if it's a Division II or FCS program, these are going to be the same young men that are going to be able to create policies and create opportunities and create little things that make it so college sports is just fair across the board, because their experience, like mine, was really built off grit and grind. It wasn't a coach just handing them a scholarship and just doing this, having them do everything for them. It was somebody actually you developing and taking the initiative, the things that you would actually need to do as a college student, the things that you need to develop as a college student. That's what needed to happen. And that's where the holes have been in the NCAA. So number three is when I was living through all that, and I finally graduated from Stony Brook. So number three is after college, I wanted to be an NFL scout, maybe even a head coach or a GM one day. My passion has always been talent development, not just the stats, but the person behind the helmet. So how this aligns with the CSC's mission is the CSC will need leaders who understand how to evaluate character, grit, and potential, not just highlight reels. I bring that lens. And as we so once I graduate again, so 3 and 4 are kind of aligned, because as I was hoping, and I'm, putting myself out there to be an NFL scout and reaching out to pro teams, whether it's arena and, semi-pro, whatever it is, in 2011, this was happening in 2011. All right. The 2011 NFL lockout was a wake-up call. My timing was really, really bad timing. Because when I graduating in the middle of the longest work, this was the NFL lockout in 2011. If you guys can go back to that time, it was the longest work stoppage in NFL history, longest work stoppage ever. No scout jobs, no clear path forward. So I pivoted. I started my own business. I found new ways to contribute, and that's what led to me taking this role with NSR and all that kind of stuff. I pivoted, started my own business. I found new ways to contribute to the game from the outside. It lit a fire in me to create opportunities, not just wait for them. So how this aligns with the CSC's mission, the CSC must be built by problem solvers. You see that word? Those two words? Problem solvers, not folks that were just handed a damn scholarship and just, good luck. Right? You need problem solvers. I've been finding solutions and innovating in sports leadership for over a decade. That's the exact entrepreneurial energy the body exists. So to move forward now, number 5, where do I live? Where am I currently located? All right, because I've been talking to you guys a lot. 1 through 4 has been all about my past, but currently South Florida is the mecca of, I'll read directly from the article. So number 5, my move to South Florida wasn't an accident. South Florida is the mecca of high school football. Talent oozes from every zip code. I moved here by design because I knew recruiting would evolve. I knew NIL would change everything, and I wanted to be where the future of college sports was happening in real time. So how this aligns with the CSC's mission is with the CSC responsible for oversight and enforcement in recruiting and NIL, they need people to be on the ground in hotbeds like this. I'm already embedded. I'm already building. Bring me in, and you get instant local insight. So in conclusion, this isn't just about being involved. It's about ensuring that the College Sports Commission doesn't become another disconnected bureaucracy. They need voices who've played at multiple levels, who've rebuilt after injury, and who understand scouting, coaching, and entrepreneurship, who live in the heartbeat of high school football. That's me, and I'm ready. That's it. That's how it has to work, guys. All right. And again, I know it might have sounded like I'm here just kind of tooting my own horn and all that kind of stuff, which I don't really care if that's how it comes off. But it is important that you have the confidence. It's not cockiness, it's confidence, because you've done the work. You've done what you needed to do. So opportunities like this are there for you to be able to take advantage of them. Now, if you're not putting in the work, it's going to become very, very obvious when you do run into the right people and you don't have the experience, you don't have the stories, you don't have the ability, don't have the knowledge to actually, or the information in your head to actually come to a solution. And people smell it on you, they feel it on you, and they simply give you the handshake and move on. You don't want to be one of those people. You want to be those people that is prepping in your mind day in and day out. So when opportunities do come your way, you're ready. All right. So all that being said, next week, not next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about actually being called up versus being called out. That's going to be next week. And then the week after, we're going from prompt to product. But tomorrow, let's stick to tomorrow, right? As you can see, I'm like clockwork, baby. We always moving, no matter what. We moving swiftly out here, right? Tomorrow, we're going to be diving into Wintrepreneur Wednesday. As you can see, we got the shirts again. Go get your shirt. Go get your shirt. Go get your Wintrepreneur shirt. You already know what we're about. Wintrepreneur. You like it. So tomorrow, I'm going to be doing live case studies and focusing on Pat McAfee, Lewis Riddick, JJ Redick, and Rich Eisen, those who have done the great job of publicly aligning themselves and putting their own stuff on their own platform. And then these big companies, they contract with them. So we'll be diving into those case studies on Wintrepreneur Wednesday tomorrow. Again, if you are a business owner and you are looking to develop, you need retention and all that, you're struggling with retention, simply go to makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. Shop around there a little bit, do your research. I'd love to come out and book a quick meeting, and we can discuss all that stuff further. Main website's right there. As One Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.